Hey guys, I'm missing you guys so much. I can't wait till we get in our Sunday school class together and get into God's Word again. I'm probably going to hug you guys to death because I haven't seen you in so long, but you'll get over it. I know you'll love it. So this week I've kind of struggled with what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Every day I've come up with something different. First the armor of God, and then prayer, and then just all different kinds of things. So when Justin texted me and said it was time to roll, I was like, well, you got to pray that God will move me out of the way and just teach you guys what he had in store. So I was looking through and I found an object lesson that I won't take credit for because it's not mine, but it was a good one that I wanted to share with you guys, and then talk about some things. So first, I've been in the kitchen, obviously, and I've been baking. So, Seb, show them what I'm baking. So I don't know what that looks like to you guys. To me, it looks kind of like mud. But if you knew what ingredients I put in it, like brownie mix and eggs and oil, you would know that, that it's going to turn out to be something yummy. So we'll get back to that object lesson, but just to throw that in there. So as I was studying for this and throwing this lesson together and trying to figure out exactly where I wanted to go without an outline, I was reminded of a verse that when I did Run for God kind of changed for me. I've heard this verse all my life, but I kind of missed out on a part. So it says, it's Hebrews 12:1, and it says, "Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us." So of course, all my life, it's the race set before us is our life, right? And we need to let go of the weights, all the things that we put on ourselves that are heavy and take over, and the sin that ensnares us, the sin that we allow to take over our lives, and we need to kind of put all of that to the side and run with endurance, okay? Run God's race and let God in that so that he can lead us through that. But I kind of missed the first part where it said, "Therefore we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses," so great a cloud of witnesses. So when that finally was pointed out to me, that part of the verse, I was like, okay, well, that's my pastor, my Sunday school teachers, my mom, my dad, my husband, my grandparents, my kids, whoever is surrounding me, right? But then it was brought to my attention in Run for God, it's also this cloud of witnesses, this Bible. What about Abraham and Moses and Isaac and Jacob and Joseph and Paul? What about all of those that we're surrounded by and we can read about right here in this Bible? So today I want to point out a few of those to you. First, Daniel, and we all know the story of Daniel in the lion's den, but I kind of want to go over it with you again because I think we're in a time that we need to hear this. Daniel was told he could not pray to God. The king had ordered that, and anybody that did that would be thrown into the lion's den. And so 3 times a day, Daniel got on his knees and he prayed. And of course, people went and told on him. And the king tried to get out of throwing him in there, and he couldn't. That was the law, and that's what had to be done. So he says to Daniel, I hope the God you serve saves you. And that night, the king couldn't eat, and he couldn't sleep. And I can just imagine Daniel walking with a soldier on each arm with some terrible music behind him, being thrown into this pit, and a stone rolled across it so he couldn't get out, and he's in there with lions. And I can imagine him praying, but I can imagine some fear and anxiety coming over him. And I can imagine him praying to God and asking God, to save him. And so that night, the king was restless. He couldn't eat. He couldn't sleep. He just kept thinking, what's happening right now? So he ran downstairs that next morning and he said, "Daniel, did your king save you?" And here comes Daniel. And he said, "My God shut the mouths of the lions." That's pretty powerful. God is able and he's willing. We just have to seek him. Daniel just sought him. He just prayed and he sought his will, and God saved him. And that's what we can do in this day and time. We're in a different kind of den, but we're there, and we just need to pray and we need to seek him. And then I'm reminded of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Same kind of situation. The king tells them, you can't serve God. And they bucked up and said, I am going to serve God. This is what I'm going to do. And it made him so mad. He said, well, just anybody that serves God is going to be thrown into a fiery furnace. And they were okay with that because they had God on their side, they had salvation, and they knew regardless, even if they had a hope, an eternal hope, right? So they kept on serving God, and the king got mad, and he said, turn that furnace up 7 times hotter and throw them in. And I just want to remind you that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they didn't shave their hair. They didn't take off their clothes. Those are things that immediately are going to ignite in fire. If I was to put a candle or a lighter to my shirt, it's immediately going to go up in flames, right? They didn't do any of that. They just threw them in there like they were. And as the soldiers were taking them to the furnace, it was so hot that it killed the ones throwing them in there. But when the king looked up, they were walking. And there wasn't just 3 men. There were 4. And they said it looked like an angel. God saved them. He was with them. He was right there. He went before them. He went after them. And he went with them. And that's kind of what I want us to be reminded of today. That he is still God. He's on the throne. He hears our prayers. All of you guys, he hears your prayers. He says that our prayers are incense in heaven. That's what the Bible tells us. So I just want you to know that he can turn those things just like, so the brownies, let's go back to them for a minute. This kind of looks like goo. Doesn't look very good, right? And if this brownie could talk, which it can, but if it could, I could imagine that it would say, please don't put me in that hot oven. You know, it's too hot. I don't want to go. But when you take it out, it's something beautiful. Right? It's brownies. We like them. They taste good. And it reminds me of a song that when I was young, Leilani Jones, I don't know if any of you all know her, but she used to sing it at church, and it was one of my most favorite songs. And it said, he gives beauty for ashes. All of those things, Daniel and the lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, today, it can turn into disaster. But God can take it. He can take that and make something beautiful. Just like Daniel, after being saved from the lions, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego saved from the fire, God took that and people were saved and lives were saved, and people gave their hearts and lives to Jesus when they saw what he did for them. And so today I encourage you to remember that God takes beauty or gives beauty for ashes. And then the song said he gives strength for fear. When we're fearful, God can give us strength. Just ask him for it. He gives gladness for mourning when we're sad. He can turn that sadness into gladness. And he gives hope for despair. When we're desperate, he gives us hope. He is our eternal hope if we have him in our hearts. So I just want to encourage you guys to be encouraging to your family, to your friends. I know right now everything's canceled and it's kind of a hard time. We're kind of sad about it, but we can be encouraging to one another. So when I went to work Tuesday, I was working in the hospital, and even though I've had a peace about this whole thing, the more people talk, sometimes you get anxious and you get fearful. And when I got there, I had this laying on my desk, and so I'll share that in the comments to you guys. But it's a list of Bible verses, encouraging promises as our world is changing. First, and I'm not going to read them all to you, just a couple of them, but you are not alone. Even when you feel like you're alone, you're not. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, because he is our hope. Psalms 46, 1 and 2. And then I will never leave you nor forsake you. It's a promise. I am always, even till the end of the age. Matthew 28, 20. And then my next favorite, Do not worry. Do not worry or have any anxiety about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving make your requests known to God, and the peace of God which surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Philippians 4, 6, and 7. And then cast your cares upon him, for he cares for you. 1 Peter 5, 7. That is my favorite. It's simple, because it is so simple. He cares for us, and in that, he wants us to cast our burdens upon us. He wants to take those burdens off of us. He wants to guide us through this. And then it simply said, what can we do? And we can be safe, we can stay connected, and we can pray. We can pray for our leaders, our hospitals, our communities, our state, our country, our world. We pray for each other, our family. You guys, if you have prayer requests and you want to share those with Hilly or I, your parents have our numbers. We are happy. We would love to hear from you guys. We'd love to see your faces. If you have a Bible verse that's spoken to your heart, then we would love to hear that as well. We want to stay engaged with you guys and connected, and that's the good thing about this day and age. We have technology that allows us to do so. And then just to leave you with this, this says, remember with everything that's getting canceled, we can't go to school, we can't go to, some people can't go to work, we can't go to a restaurant, we can't go skating, we can't go, to all these places we love to do, movies, ball games, all that stuff. With all that stuff getting canceled, prayer isn't canceled. We can pray. Love is not canceled. We can love one another, help one another, we can come together. Trust in God is not canceled, and your hope is not canceled. If you have asked Jesus into your heart, you have eternal hope. And so I just wanted to share those things for you. I hope it was encouraging to you. I'd love to hear from you guys. I hope you have a great week. And if I will be praying for you guys and your families. And I just, we want your prayers for us. We desire those. If you want to say some prayers for us, we would appreciate that. And if you need anything, please call us. We're right here, and we can do, we'll do anything we can to help you guys. I love you guys. Bye.